Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 59, written by user gdpanda. She saw a homeless man, one she knew visually. Somehow, she passed by him twice, trying to avoid him, only for him to reappear in front of her. I live in a city that still has small town vibes. You get to know all the beggars and the homeless over time. You learn their names, if they're dangerous or not, and just their stories in general. There are a couple that I avoid because they seem very violent, including this one skinhead with large swastika tattoos on his shoulder and chest. Imagine Edward Norton in American History X. He is, though, as such, extremely distinctive. He always has the same story about why he needs money. His daughter was in a car accident and he needs taxi money to go to the hospital. I can spot him from far away and always cross the street. One summer afternoon, it was extremely hot and humid. I was sitting in a pocket park on my lunch break. A pocket park is usually between two streets and very small. I see him walking up the sidewalk towards me. I wanted to get up and leave, but I was scared to have my back to him. I waited for him to pass me, and he started with his story. I said, "Hey man, you've told me this story before, more than once. I don't have anything to offer, and maybe figure out a new sob story." I can see he's wearing an old Budweiser wife beater, baggy blue jeans with a long wallet chain, and has a blue cast on his right arm. He walks past me, towards, we'll say, Main Street. He stops at the end of the park sidewalk, where there's a man he's bothering. I use that time to hurry past him. He's on my right, so I go left. I'm walking along Main Street to the intersection of Main and East. I take a right, so Main is now behind me. I'm walking fast so I can lose him. I'm halfway down the street when I see him take a right on East, about 100 yards away, walking towards me. He walks right past me towards Main, not even looking at me, not even sweaty, and asked me for money with the same story. I lived and worked on that block for years. There's no shortcut. Even running at full speed, it would take a few minutes to get ahead of me, then turn around and walk past me. There's no physical way to make that happen. And he's so distinctive looking. I've seen him for years. I know it was him. He did have the same story too. It's like a copy of him just repeated his program. And after that day, I never saw him again. Case notes, file number 59. This just feels like timelines converging together, or maybe indeed it was just a copy. The odd thing is that you never saw him again though, after this. Almost like he phased out of your reality completely. Maybe some people are actually, not even to be rude, just thinking out loud. Like some people are NPCs. They're not real like players as part of this simulation game, and they're just people we need to encounter, or maybe they're challenges, just to see how we interact in that way. Maybe you need to interact with people like this for some step in your life. Maybe it aligns your mind in a specific way, if that makes any sense at all. What do you think? Case file number 60, written by user SilverArrow05. He was around 8 years old, playing in his basement, but something else was nearby too, watching him. When I was around 6 or 8 years old, I would come down into my basement to play games with my younger brother all the time. He was around 5 or 7 at the time. We were playing Minecraft Xbox 360 edition, and were messing around in creative mode when the world generation started to bug out. Half-iron doors generating in mountainsides and corrupt villages were loading in. My brother thought it looked a little weird, and he left to use the restroom. While he was in there, the TV started to show static, and it began to make an alien roaring sound. The lights in my basement flickered, and the Xbox shut off on its own, and it never worked again after this. It freaked me out. I got this horrifying sense that something evil was coming. I looked over towards the wall and saw this black, shadowy figure clawing out of the wall. It had these piercing, almost glowing eyes, and when it saw me, It ran straight through a wall, and I could see it standing in the darkness through an open door. I ran up to my parents crying, and don't kill me for this, I was little and didn't know better, and I told them there was a black guy that came through the basement wall. They didn't know how to react to this, so they went downstairs with me and showed me that there was nothing there. I was too afraid to go downstairs alone for the next couple of months. A couple of years later, my parents had their friends over, and they brought their kids. We all went downstairs, and I told them what I told you above. We decided it would be cool to have a ghost hunt. We set a ghost trap by coating the floor with marbles, and put a Lincoln log house in the middle of the room. I thought it was meant so it would want to break the house, and when it did, it would trip and fall so we would hear it. We went upstairs for some drinks, and when we went back downstairs, there was a clear path through the marbles going to the now completely demolished Lincoln house. The pieces were blasted across the room, and back into the room I saw it run into the first time. My friends were now convinced of its existence as well. A few days ago, this is what made me remember all of this, because it was a while ago. I had this creepy nightmare where there were tons of shadow people standing around my bed, and when I would close my eyes, I could see right through them, and I couldn't look away. They weren't hurting me, just really creeping me out. Oh, and in case this means anything, I sleep in my basement right now, next to the room where I saw it run into. Occasionally, I can hear knocking on the wall where I first saw it, and other sounds coming from that room. And yes, still to this day, I can see it just out of the corner of my eye in my peripheral vision, darting around in that room, and also when all the lights are off in my basement. Has anyone else experienced anything similar to this? And should I be worried about it? Because it doesn't seem to be bothering anyone. Case notes, file number 60. Personally, I get the impression that shadow people aren't demons or malevolent. They don't intend us harm. They're the essence of people trapped within dead pockets of other universes. They're only able to loosely interact with us, but not able to cross back over. It's just my little speculative theory, but I think it does fit well. Though I am curious how its appearance affected your Xbox as a kid. Somehow it caused a short. The same thing happened with the lights. It seems that shadow people can interact, likely in my opinion by accident, with the electromagnetic force. If this is true, that must be a sort of hell that they can't escape from. I don't know, but it's my theory. If you like this video, give it a like, and also subscribe on up.